Susan Boyle was born into a large, close-knit family in Blackburn, West Lothian, where life was simple but full of character. As the youngest of 9 children, she grew up surrounded by noise, faith, and strong family values. Her early years were not shaped by fame or expectation, but by ordinary routines and a home where music quietly lived in the background. Her father enjoyed singing, and those moments left a deep impression on her. Even as a child, there was something steady about her connection to music, though it wasn't immediately recognized by others. Life in a small town meant limited opportunities, but it also created a sense of grounding that would later help her navigate far bigger stages. Looking back, those early years weren't about discovering talent overnight. They were about forming resilience, patience, and a quiet belief that something meaningful could grow, even in the most ordinary surroundings. Growing up feeling different childhood wasn't always easy for Susan. School life came with challenges that made her feel out of place. She often struggled socially and found it difficult to connect in environments that didn't fully understand her. At the time, there was little awareness around neurodiversity, and misunderstandings shaped how others treated her. This created moments of isolation and self-doubt that stayed with her for years. Yet, even in those difficult experiences, there was a quiet strength developing. She learned how to cope with discomfort, how to retreat into spaces where she felt safe, and most importantly, how to hold on to something that gave her peace: music. While others may not have fully understood her, she slowly began to understand herself. That journey wasn't quick or easy, but it built a kind of inner resilience that would later become one of her greatest strengths when the world finally started paying attention. Music as a safe place. In a world that often felt overwhelming, music became Susan's refuge. Singing in her local church gave her a sense of belonging that she struggled to find elsewhere. It wasn't about performance or recognition. It was about expression. The structure of hymns, the calm environment, and the encouragement from those around her allowed her to explore her voice without fear. Over time, that safe space helped her grow more confident in her abilities. She began to understand that her voice had a quality that could move people, even if the audience was small. These early experiences were crucial because they allowed her to develop naturally, without pressure. Music wasn't something she chased for fame. It was something she leaned on for comfort. And that difference shaped how she would later approach her career, with sincerity rather than ambition. Years of waiting and quiet effort. Before the world knew her name, Susan spent years trying to find opportunities that never quite worked out. She auditioned for shows, recorded demos, and reached out to people in the industry, often without any response. These moments of silence were difficult, but they didn't stop her. Instead, they became part of her journey. She continued singing locally, holding on to the idea that her moment might still come. Many people would have given up after so many setbacks, but Susan's persistence came from something deeper than external validation. It came from her love for singing itself. Those years of waiting were not wasted. They refined her voice, strengthened her patience, and prepared her for a moment that would eventually change everything. When that opportunity finally arrived, she wasn't starting from scratch. She was stepping forward with decades of quiet preparation behind her. A moment that changed everything. Everything shifted when Susan stepped onto the stage of Britain's Got Talent in 2009. What seemed like an ordinary audition quickly became extraordinary. When she began singing I Dreamed a Dream from Les Miserables, the atmosphere in the room transformed. Initial doubts gave way to surprise, and then to admiration. Her voice carried emotion, strength, and years of lived experience. The performance resonated far beyond the stage, reaching millions of viewers around the world. Within days, she became a global sensation. It wasn't just about the quality of her voice, it was about the story behind it. People connected with the idea that someone overlooked could still achieve something remarkable. That single moment didn't just launch her career, it redefined how audiences viewed talent and possibility. A career built on consistency. Following her breakthrough, Susan continued to release music that resonated with audiences worldwide. Her albums consistently performed well, reflecting a loyal fan base that appreciated her style and sincerity. Unlike trends that come and go, her music remained rooted in emotion and storytelling. This consistency helped her maintain a lasting presence in the industry. She wasn't chasing reinvention, she was building on what she did best. Over time, her career became less about proving herself and more about sharing her voice. Each release added to a body of work that reflected her journey, her influences, and her connection to listeners. It was a steady progression, shaped by dedication rather than sudden change. Facing a life changing health challenge. In 2022, Susan faced a significant health challenge that temporarily paused her career. The experience was difficult, both physically and emotionally. For someone whose identity was closely tied to her voice, the uncertainty was particularly challenging. Yet, even in this moment, her resilience became evident. She approached recovery with determination, focusing on rehabilitation and gradual progress. Support from professionals, along with her own commitment, played a key role in her journey. While the process required time and patience, it also reinforced her strength. Rather than viewing it as an ending, she saw it as another chapter, one that required the same perseverance she had shown throughout her life. The long road back to music recovery wasn't immediate. It involved consistent effort, structured routines, and a willingness to start again from the basics. Step by step, Susan worked to regain confidence in her voice and her abilities. These efforts were not always visible to the public, but they were essential. Each small improvement marked progress toward something bigger. Over time, the results became clear. She began to reconnect with music in a way that felt both familiar and new. This phase of her journey highlighted the importance of patience and persistence. It showed that even after significant setbacks, growth is still possible with the right mindset and support. A return that meant more than ever. When Susan returned to the stage, the moment carried a deeper meaning. It wasn't just about performing again, it was about everything that led up to that point. Audiences saw not only a singer, but a story of resilience and determination. Her performance reminded people why they connected with her in the first place. It also showed that challenges do not erase talent. They can, in some ways, deepen it. The return was met with appreciation and respect, reinforcing her place in the hearts of her audience. It was a powerful reminder that comebacks are not just about returning, they're about continuing with greater understanding and strength. Looking ahead to new chapters. As new opportunities emerge, Susan's journey continues to evolve. Conversations about future performances and projects reflect a renewed sense of possibility. Each step forward builds on everything she has experienced, from her early struggles to her global success and personal challenges. Her story remains relevant because it speaks to something universal: the idea that it's never too late to pursue something meaningful. Whether through new music or live performances, her presence continues to inspire. The future may look different from the past, but it carries the same sense of purpose that has always guided her. A story of resilience and quiet strength. At its core, Susan Boyle's story is not just about music. It's about resilience. It's about staying true to yourself, even when the world doesn't immediately understand you. From a quiet town in Scotland to stages around the world, her journey reflects the power of patience, belief, and perseverance. She didn't follow a conventional path, and that's exactly what makes her story meaningful. It shows that success doesn't have to come early or easily to be real. Sometimes it grows slowly, shaped by experience and strengthened by challenges. And when it finally arrives, it carries a depth that can't be rushed or replicated.